What's cracking, gangsters? So, some of you guys suggested in the comment section that I have some childish intros and that I should stop doing that. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna be more goofy. Just kidding. Anyways, no, I'm like not bashing anyone, but this is who I am. I like doing things like this. I have fun doing it. This is how I am in real life as a real person. So, I'm not gonna change because of anyone, okay? Let's just get that out of the table. And now, let's get into the game, which is rock, paper, scissors, a really cool game, simple one, but let's get into it. Let's just, first take a look at the games we're gonna create. So I'm gonna hit the play button, and it's a regular rock, paper, scissors, nothing fancy. I can click here rock, and the opponent will have, this was scissors, okay? I won in this case, you get the point. I can select here paper, and opponent selected the paper, it's a draw, and then it will go basically, and by the way, this is a mobile game, yay! It's a mobile game because you guys are obsessed with mobile games. You have some fetishes on mobile games, okay? I'm gonna click here for scissors and voila, I won. So basically this is the game, nothing fancy. It's not like some dragons and whatnot. But yeah, this is the game. Even though it looks simple, we are going to learn a lot of cool things. So stick with me. It's a short tutorial, about 40 minutes, 45 minutes, depending on how much I'm gonna ramble here, yada, 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 yada. Anyways, smash like, smash subscribe, smash notification. You can download the complete project, link will be in the description below. And also the assets and this is awkward. Let's start with the game. What is cracking, gangsters? I am in a new project, and this is a 2D project, and this is Unity. This is Unity 2019. Probably most of you guys were waiting for this, for all the new features that you will never use, but yeah, here it is. Anyways, what we're gonna do is import the sprites, of course, so simply drag and drop them right here. You will be able to download them, link is in the description below on my website. You know the drill, I don't even have to tell you. Smash the like and let's go in it. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create here, so right click and go under UI, and I am going to create an image. This is going to be our BG, and I'm going to call it BG, simple as that. And I'm also going to call the canvas UI canvas, just because for some reason I like doing that, so don't even ask me why. By the way, I set the resolution for my project to 480 by 800. If you don't have that resolution, you're gonna click here in the game tab. As you can see, I am in the game tab. You are going to click right below it and click on this plus button and create your resolution. So here you're going to type 480 by 800, give a name, so give name, hit OK, and you are good to go. So what I'm gonna do is take the canvas, click on it, and here for the render mode, I'm going to change from screen space overlay to camera and attach the main camera, simple as that. I'm also going to go here in canvas scaler and set scale with screen size, and I'm going to say 480 by 800, and voila, we are good to go. What I'm gonna do now is go in the sprites folder and select the BG and simply attach this BG right here, this BG sprite. Let me click here on the native size, and this is not what I want, but I can say 480 by 800, and voila, this is our background. Now, before we start creating anything, what I'm gonna do is take our rock, paper, scissors, so select it and go here in the inspector panel and change the sprite mode from single to multiple, and I'm gonna hit apply. This is going to allow me to click on this sprite editor here. So when you click on it, it will open these sprites, or well, these images in this sprite editor. I can click on the slice button, which is at the top left corner of this tab, you see? So I can click on the slice here, it will open this pop-up window. I can click slice again and it will slice all these individual sprites. So this right here is gonna be rock, this is going to be scissors, so scissors, and finally we have paper, which is this one right here, paper or however you want to call it. So I'm gonna hit apply, and these changes will be applied to the prefab, or actually these changes will be applied to the sprite. So what I'm gonna do now is select the canvas and right click on it, and I'm gonna create an empty game object. Now this empty game object, I'm going to resize it, so the width is 480 by 800, so the size of the screen. I'm going to rename this one to player choice handler. So player choice handler. I'm also gonna right click on it, and I'm gonna create another empty game object, and this one is going to be our holder. So this right here I'm going to call holder, And this is the dude who is going to have all of our rock, paper, scissors. I'm also going to attach a canvas group on him. Now, what is a canvas group? Well, first of all, I'm gonna right click on it and go here under UI, and I'm going to create a button. So for this button, we are going to use it for our images, and I'm gonna remove the text from it. And this one is going to be a rock like this. And the position X is going to be negative 160. The width is going to be 106 and the height is going to be 117. So this is going to be our rock. We're also going to have paper. Now let me just drag and drop here. So rock. No, it's not here. What am I doing? So it's the source image right here. So we have rock. I'm going to duplicate this one. This is going to be paper, so I'm going to simply set the position next to here. So rock, paper. And lastly, let me just first, of course, rename it to paper. And here I'm going to duplicate this one. This one is going to be at 160, and this is going to be scissors. And drag and drop the scissors right here. Now, this holder, I am going to select him. And I'm going to move the holder at negative 265. Now, before I proceed to tell you about the canvas group that I've attached, I'm also going to select the holder, or actually the BG, excuse me, and go here and change the color of the BG a little bit. Something like this. Yeah, I think this will do. So that we can see more clearly, because the hands here have a similar color as the background, so I'm simply going to change them. Now, why did I attach a canvas group? What is a canvas group? Well, when we animate these, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move them down like this, but I also am going to fade them. Now, instead of going here and selecting every individual rock, or actually every individual rock, paper, scissors element, and going here under color and fading them like this, so instead of doing that, what I'm gonna do is simply attach a canvas holder on a parent game object, or canvas group, excuse me, on the holder. And now I can change alpha here, you see, and voila, see? It will simply resize them all. Simple as that, nothing complicated. And Awesome Tuts is all about that. So I'm gonna right click here on the UI canvas and create another empty game object. This is going to be our choice animator. So here I'm gonna say choice animator for 80 by 800 for the width and the height. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to create a UI button. So right click on it, or actually, excuse me, it's gonna be an image, UI image. And this is going to be opponent choice. I'm going to set the width of this to 200 and the height to 200 and position Y at 550. So voila, simple as that. Now, I'm also going to attach on this bad boy a canvas group. So simply drag and drop a canvas group. Alpha will be 0. This is all because we're going to animate everything. It will be clear in a moment. Don't worry about that. I'm also going to duplicate this. And this is going to be player choice, because we're also going to have our player choice. But this one is going to be at negative 550 for the y-axis. Voila, simple as that. And last but not least, I'm gonna right click here and create a UI button. So UI button, it can be also an image, it can be an image. So UI image, and this is going to be opponent weight, like this. And for our opponent weight, I am going to set the width to 200 and the height to 200. I'm also going to set the position Y at 250, something like this, actually 50, not 60. I'm gonna right click on it and go here under UI and create a text, because we are gonna do the following. I'm gonna take this text and I'm going to resize it like this. So resize it, set the position like this, and here set the question mark, and voila. So you see, this is our player's choice. And pay attention also, this opponent weight needs to have a canvas group. Now, why am I so obsessed with canvas groups? Well, I'm not that obsessed, by the way, but what I'm gonna do is, let's go here in our assets and right click and create. A new folder is going to be animations. You will see in a second when we start animating all of this, it will be clear why I did certain things the way I did them. So in our animations, we're gonna have two folders. First of all, we're gonna have choice animations, and I'm gonna duplicate this one. It's gonna be player choice handler animations. Now for our player choice handler, that is, so we're gonna have our player choice handler. We are going to create, let me just go here in player choice handler. I'm gonna attach on this one animator. So we're gonna have an animator. I'm going to right click here, go and create an animator controller. Now I'm going to call this one player choice animator controller, player choice controller, simply player choice controller. Now attach it, so select the player choice handler, drag and drop it right here, and voila. The first thing that we need to create is an idle animation. So select it, select the player choice handler, go into the animation tab. If you don't have it, it's under window, and then animation, and then animation again. So when you have that tab open, when you select the player choice handler, you can click here, create, and I'm gonna create the idle animation. I'm of course going to save it right here, player choice, you see, I'm going to save it here, and click on save. And idle is just gonna be as is. But what we are gonna do next is I'm gonna go here and create a new clip. So we need to create a new clip, and we need to have remove and show handler. First of all, we're going to say remove handler. This is the name of the animation. And what we are gonna do here is we're gonna select our player choice handler and make sure that the remove handler animation is selected. Then I'm gonna click on this record button here, and I'm gonna go on frame 60. And what I'm gonna do is, first of all, I'm going to take this, go here in the scene, and take our handler and move him over here, and also set the alpha to 0. So you see now the point why I added here the canvas, or the alpha canvas group, that is. Pay attention now. You see now this animation, it goes down and it fades. You see, it goes and it fades. Again, this is what we want. So you see it goes and fades. Voila, this is what we want. This is the effect that we want. Now, when it comes to our choice animator, we also need to do the same thing. So we need to attach an animator controller. We need to go here in our choice animations. Come on, choice animations, right click here and create an animator controller. This is going to be our choice controller. Select the choice animator. So what I'm gonna do is select it like this. Voila. We also need the idle animation for this bad boy here. So click here, create. We're gonna say idle. And no, we are not going to save it here. We're going to go in animations and then choice animations and save it there. Okay. Again, click here and create a new clip. And for this one, we are going to have our show choices and remove choices. So create clip. We're going to say show choices like this and save. What is going to happen over here? Well, we have many things going on. So first things first, what I'm gonna do is go here and click on the recording button and go on frame 60. The first thing that I'm gonna do is take this opponent weight and I'm going to remove it over here. And I'm also going to set the alpha to 0. Now I'm gonna take the player choice and I am going to move it over here, -235, and I'm going to set the alpha to 1. And also take this one, opponent choice 235. Yeah, this is where I want it. And again, I'm going to set the alpha in the canvas group to be equal to 1. So these are our animations. What's going to happen here when we made a choice, when we click either rock, paper, or scissors, this is what's gonna happen. We are going to remove this question mark above, which is, like waiting for the opponent to guess his choice. So we're going to remove it, and this is what we are going to have. You see this right here. Now, of course, this animation will be played. This animation from our player choice handler, so it will remove these, and then we will play this animation. You see, actually this one, this idle. So we will play this animation. So we will only see these two images. But of course, on these images, we will display the choices of the enemy and the choices of the player. So let me right click here and demonstrate that. So I'm gonna go and create a scripts folder. I'm gonna right click here and go into or create a C# script. The first script that I'm gonna create is going to be the animation controller. And I'm gonna right click here, create an empty game object. This is going to be our game manager or game handler, how you wanna call him. So game manager, game manager, and I'm gonna attach the animation right here. What we are going to have inside of this one is simple. We are going to take these two animators. So you're going to create a serialized field, and apparently not. Okay, serialized field, private, animator, and we are going to have our player choice handler animation, and we're also going to have the choice animation like this. And here I'm simply going to say class, and we are going to have a public void reset animations. So reset animations, and we are going to have a public void player made choice. Now what's gonna go down here? In player made choice, we're gonna call player choice handler, and we are going to say play, and we are going to say remove handler like this. Make sure that this animation, this right here, the name of this animation is the same as the name of the animation that you created right here. So remove handler, this name right here, so you can click on it and go here in inspector and duplicate it and go over here and paste it just to make sure that the names are correct. And here we're gonna have the choice animation. We're gonna say here play, and here I am going to have show choices. Again, you need to make sure that this animation here, the name matches with the name right here. Come on. So go here, click on it, and show choices. So these names need to match up. By the way, I just remembered I forgot to do this. So I forgot to set my battery. No, skip this version, okay? It's prompting me to download this every single time, and I downloaded like 5 times. So somewhere around here, I believe, will be okay. This is what I do for you guys. I'm risking to destroy my computer because I love you, okay? And you don't cherish that. So moving forward here in our reset animations, what we are simply going to do is I'm going to take this, and here instead of remove handler, we're going to have show handler. We will create this in a moment, don't worry about that. And here we're going to have remove choices. Simple as that, very simple. Now before we proceed to create an input class that will get the input so that we will know which choice has been made, I'm gonna go here and create a new C# script. We're gonna create a gameplay controller, and while I'm here, I'm also gonna right click and create another C# script, and this one is going to be our input controller. So attach both of these on the game manager. So select the game manager, attach the gameplay controller, attach the input controller. And by the way, in the animation, we're gonna drag and drop. So this is player choice handler, and this is the choice animation. Simple as that. So simply drag and drop them right here. In the gameplay controller, we are going to create a couple of variables that we need before we proceed to do anything in the input. So here, first of all, in the gameplay controller above, we're going to say using Unity Engine UI, and also below it, I'm going to declare a public enum, which is going to be game choices, and we are going to have none. We are going to have rock, paper, and scissors. Simple as that. So nothing complicated, nothing where we need to bash our head. That's why I don't stop to explain everything, because I'm experimenting actually something. I want to see how many of you guys will understand this tutorial, because it's a simple game. I've done 3,000 games already on this channel, and this is a simple one, so I want you to understand what is going on without me explaining everything too much. So we are also going to create a serialized field here, a private sprite, and this is going to be our rock sprite and paper sprite and scissors. So scissors, or yeah, scissors underscore sprite. Simple as that. Now we are also going to have here a serialized field, a private image, and one is going to be player choice underscore img and opponent choice img for the image. We're also going to have a serialized field for our private text, which is going to be our info text. We will add this later, don't worry. And we're going to have a private game choices to know what is the player's choice. So we're going to say here player choice by default is equal to none. And we're also going to have the opponent choice, which by default is also equal to none because we did not select any choice. And lastly, we are also going to have a private animation controller, which is our class that we created a moment ago, which I'm going to call animation controller. So controller. Simple as that. Now, before we proceed to do anything when it comes to creating the functions that we need here, I'm simply going to go and create our input controller. So in the input controller, we of course need a couple of variables, as always with our games. We cannot create games with variables, okay? Without variables, that is. Anyways, moving forward in the input controller, we are going to create a private animation controller. What am I doing? Animation controller, which I'm going to call animation controller because I'm very creative. We're also going to have a private gameplay controller, which I'm going to call gameplay controller because, again, I'm very creative. And we're also going to have a private string player's choice. In the awake function, we're going to get a reference to these two. So we're going to get our animation controller, which is going to be equal to get component animation controller. So it's attached on this game object. We're also going to do the same thing with the gameplay controller. We're going to say get component game play, not game object, gameplay controller. Okay, like this. And we are done when it comes to getting all of these. Now, we simply need to create a function that is going to get the choice from the buttons. So I'm going to create a public void get choice like this. And simply here, what we are going to do is I'm going to create a string choice name, which is going to be equal to Unity engine dot event systems dot event system dot current selected game object name. Simple as that. Now, what the hell is this? We will see in a second. Now here are game choices, and I'm going to say selected choice is by default going to be equal to none like this, but here I'm going to say switch choice name. And we are going to have a couple of cases. So we're going to have our case rock. And this is not the rock. Don't be like, oh, I've seen the rock on Awesome Stitch tutorial. No, you haven't. Don't tell your mom that so that she will think you're cool and let you watch these tutorials. So scissors, you didn't see the rock on my tutorials, okay? And finally here in our rock, we're going to say selected choice is going to be equal to game choices rock. Here I'm going to say paper. And lastly, I'm going to say scissors. Like this. And outside of this one, we're simply going to call our gameplay controller dot set choices. And we're going to say selected choice. But of course, we did not create this. And we will come back to it. But what I want to show you is all what we did here comes back to this player made choice, because we will see now in a moment what this will do. And we will explain, I will come back and explain everything here. So don't worry, don't panic, don't be like, no, don't be like that. So why is this, the variable is assigned, but the value is not used. What are you saying to me? What are you saying to me? It is used. Look, let's go back here. So you need to select here rock, paper, and scissors. These are all buttons, and we need to go here and click on this plus button to add this event so that we can drag and drop the game manager, and from the input controller select the get choice function, which is this one that we have just created. And now we are going to see what this right here is. So if I go and say print in the console, and I'm gonna say player selected, and I'm going to say plus here, choice name, voila. So if I go back and if I touch any of these, if I touch the rock, paper, or scissors, pay attention what's going to happen. I'm going to show you the animation. That is what's most important. So if I click here, see, bam, player selected paper, and we have one issue. You see what's going on? Do you see? Do you see? Do you see that? Of course you do. Now, I've done this on purpose because what we need to do, what we forgot to do is here for this animation, remove handler, we need to double click on it and uncheck the loop time. We need to do the same thing for the choice animator. So double click on show choices and uncheck the loop time. We also need to do the following. We will need to duplicate these, but let me show you one thing again. So if I go back here and pay attention in the console what's going on. If I click here on the rock, click, you see now we have the animation, all the hands are gone, the question mark of our opponent is gone as well, and we have these two images. We will show or display on them what we selected. But pay attention here, player selected rock, which is this one right here. What is going on? Well, it is going on the following, that I'm using Unity Engine event system and current selected game object and name. This is when we click on a UI element, we can use this to get the current selected game object and the name that we have. And you see the name here is rock, paper, and scissors. That's why I have here a switching case with rock, paper, and scissors. That's why I have that there. And then I'm calling animation controller player made choice. You see here, so player made choice, which will play remove handler and show choices animation. But we don't have this show handler and remove choices. For that, we are simply going to do the following. We are going to go here and select the player choice handler, select the remove handler and duplicate it. Command D to duplicate it. Go here for the name and change it from remove handler to show handler and change the speed from 1 to -1. Simple as that. And go back here in the choice animator, select the show choices, duplicate it, remove here this, so remove it. Instead of show choices, say remove choices. Instead of speed 1, you're going to say -1, and that is that. You are good to go. Now, in order for our game to work and so that we will be able to play it, we do need to program this gameplay controller set choices. So if we go back here in our gameplay controller, what we're going to do, first of all, in the awake function, we are going to get our animator controller, which is going to be equal to get component animator controller, not control. I'm just wondering why Visual Studio is playing with me every single time. Not important. Moving forward, what we need here is a public void set choices, which takes a game choice or game choices and game choices as a parameter. So we can go back safely here and uncomment this now. So we are passing the selected, and you saw how we know what the player has selected. I'm going to remove this print because we don't need it. You saw what the player has selected, okay? So what is the wisdom here? Well, basically when we get the selection from that player based on rock, paper, or scissors, based on the name of the game object that we have selected, we're going to set the selected choice, which is this one right here, to rock, paper, or scissors, and we're going to paste or pass this as a parameter in the gameplay controller. Now in the gameplay controller here, in our set choices, this is where the magic will happen. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say switch and case for our game choices, like this, game choices, switch and case, and we're going to have our cases. So we're going to have game choices dot rock, and I'm going to say here break, paper, and scissors. So here I'm going to say paper, and here I'm going to say scissors. Now here, when it comes to the rock, again, this is not the rock, the actor, okay? Don't be all like, mom, mom. No, don't do that. So for the rock, we are going to say player choice image dot sprite is equal to the rock sprite. And I'm also going to say here player choice is going to be equal to, and here I'm going to say game choices dot rock. Simple as that. And we are then going to break out of this. Now for our paper, we're going to do the same thing, but here the image is going to be our paper sprite. And the game choice is going to be paper. Simple as that. And for the scissors, you can imagine what we're going to do. So here I'm going to say scissors sprite, and here I'm going to say scissors. Simple as that, okay? Now below or outside of this switch and case, we are going to set opponent choice like this. And below we're going to say determine winner. See, we need these two functions, okay? So first of all, we need set opponent choice, and it's going to be a void one. And here I'm also going to duplicate this one, void, and like this. So in our set opponent choice, we are going to set the choice of the opponent based on the random value. So I'm going to say here int RND for random is going to be equal to random range between 0 and 3. Because it will return a number from 0 to 3, not including 3. So this can either return 0, 1, or 2. It will not return 3. So here I'm going to say switch for our RND for random. And we are going to have cases. So we're going to have case 0, which is basically, well, one choice. We're going to have case 1 and 2. So here I'm going to say 1, and here I am going to say 2. So let's pretend that our choice 1 or case 1 is rock. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to say opponent choice is going to be equal to game choices, and this one is going to be rock. And below I'm going to say opponent choice image sprite is going to be equal to the rock sprite. Again, don't tell your mom, okay? It's not the rock. Game choice here, instead of the rock, is going to be paper, and here I'm also going to say paper, and here paste it. This is going to be scissors, and this is going to be scissors. Now, before we determine the winner, which is the only thing that's left for us to do, we can test this out. So we can test based on the choice that we paste here. You see that we pass, not paste. Why am I pronouncing pass as paste? You see, gameplay controller set choices. We're passing the selected choice from the player. Based on the selected choice here, see, it's the parameter. This is the parameter, which in this case is this variable here. So based on that, in switching case, we are going to set the sprite of the image to the choice, which is rock, paper, or scissors. And we're doing here the same thing for our opponent. You see, doing the same thing for the opponent. So if I go back now, and if I hit the play button, and if I select one of these, so if I select this right here, for example, you will see that we have a null reference exception. Let's see where it is. Player okay. And I'm glad that this happened because you can see how am I debugging things. So we need to attach all of this here. So what I need to do is go here in sprites, and I forgot to attach all of these images. So select the game manager, and here we have the rock sprite, we have the paper sprite, and we have the scissors sprite, okay? Now we also have the player's choice image, so player choice, which is this one right here, and opponent choice, which is this one right here. We will also need this info text. We will add it at the end, or basically we'll add it short. Now, if I hit the play button, if I select one of these, so if I select, for example, let's say paper, you will see now that the animation will slide in and we will have paper for my selection, and you see the opponent selected scissors. In this case, we would lose. So this is how it works. And we only need to determine here the winner, okay? So here is where we are determining the winner. Now, first of all, we're going to check for the draw. So we're going to say here, if our player choice is equal to the opponent choice, then we have a draw. So here we have a draw. We're going to say draw, and here we're going to say info text dot text is going to be equal to it's a draw. Simple as that, with an exclamation mark. And simply after that, we are going to create a coroutine that we are going to call start coroutine, display winner, and restart. Now let me just go quickly here. I enumerator and create it. So I'm going to call this one display winner and restart. So here I'm going to say yield return. So yield return new wait for seconds, and we're going to wait 2 seconds. Then I'm going to say info text dot game object dot set active is equal to true because I want to display it. And below here I am going to yield return again. So yield return new wait for seconds 2. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to say here false for the info text because I don't want to display it anymore. And I'm going to call our animation controller to reset the animations. Simple as that. And here we're going to say start coroutine pasting the display winner coroutine. Now, before I continue, before we do anything, let me quickly go here and create that text. So it's going to be here under UI canvas. I'm going to right click UI and text. And this is going to be our info text. The width of this is going to be 442, the height 137. The alignment is going to be at the middle. I'm also going to set the color to white, so the color of the text is going to be white. So selecting, ooh, what just happened? Okay, so something went wrong. Anyways, the font is going to be 72, and here it's draw. It's going to be like the default one, and I'm going to click this checkbox to make it not active. Select the game manager and drag and drop the info text right here, right here. Okay, enough about me being silly. What I'm also going to do here is I'm going to say return, because we want to exit outside of this function or this if statement if we have a draw. Okay, what are the cases that we can have in our rock, paper, scissors? Well, first of all, we can have if the player choice is equal to game choices paper and opponent choice is equal to game choices rock. In this case, we won. So here I'm gonna say player one, and simply here we are going to take this. I'm gonna take all of this right here actually with the return statement and everything, and I'm simply going to paste it. And here I'm simply going to say you win with the exclamation mark, and display the coroutine display winner and restart. Simple as that. So let me just, what am I doing here? Let me duplicate this. And here, instead of our player, I'm going to say opponent. So if opponent's choice is equal to paper and player choice is equal to rock, then the player lose. And here I'm going to say opponent wins. And here I'm going to say you lose, because in this case, the opponent wins. If opponent has paper and we have rock, then we lose. What is the next scenario? Well, the next scenario, I'm gonna paste this here. If player choice is equal to rock and opponent choice is equal to scissors, then we win. And I'm going to display we won and start the coroutine and yada, yada, yada. Below, I'm going to paste this here, and here I'm going to say if the opponent has the rock and the player, so here I'm going to say, and the player has the scissors, then opponent won. So opponent won, and here I'm going to say you lose. Continue. 9, 6. So if player or opponent choice is equal to rock and player choice is scissors, then we lose. Now, what is another scenario that we can have? Well, here I'm going to paste it. So if player's choice is equal to scissors and opponent's choice is equal to paper, we win. Okay? And the last choice is if our opponent has scissors and if our player has rock, or actually paper. And here we're going to say opponent won, and here I'm going to say you lose. And let me just make sure that here I changed all of these, okay? Yeah, I did that. So player, 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 and voila, yeah. We are good to go. Basically, this is it. If I go back here in Unity, and if I clear the console, for some reason I like clearing the console even though it doesn't do anything. I'm gonna hit the play button. So pay attention now. I can go here and I can click on rock. Let's see, it's a draw, and we'll display here, it's a draw, and we will continue to play. So what is, let me just see what is wrong here. Let me just go back quickly. So show handler. This is for our player choice handler. We need to call show handler. So let me quickly go here in animation. So we need to call, yeah, it's this right here. So show handler. I misspelled here, okay? So you need to make sure that everything is spelled correctly. And for the choice animator, remove choices. It needs to be spelled correctly here as well. And voila. We are good to go, hopefully now without any warnings or errors or whatnot. So let's go back, and we can now play this game infinitely. So if I select here scissors, and this is going to display you lose because opponent had the rock, we had the scissors. Okay, let's try with the paper. Paper. It's a draw. Okay, you see, it's a draw. And let's try rock, and again, I lose. What is your assignment here is to implement the score. So implement the score. Whatever you lose, the opponent will have the one score. You're going to not have a score when you win. You see here now, we are at 2-1. So 2 times the opponent won, 1 time I won. And again here, all happen in the gameplay control. It's simple if-else statement. So if the choice of the player is same and the opponent choice is the same, then we have a draw. And where do we actually get the player choice and the opponent choice? Well, the player choice, we get it here from the game choices that we pass here as a parameter. Remember? And then here you see game choices. Based on the choice, if the case is rock, we're going to say player choice is equal to rock. Here is paper, here is scissors. That's where we get that input. And for the set opponent choice, we are setting it right here. So based on the random here, we are going to set that. And then here we're going to check for all possibilities. So here we have the player choice. If it's paper and opponent choice rock, you get the point. The all yada 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 that I just said a moment ago. And basically that's that. Surprised are you? I don't have the sexy glasses now. I took them off. I tricked you. Anyways, this is it. This is our game. Very simple one, rock, paper, scissors, but we learned quite a bit, especially handling the situations, the control with the if statement. You can do with if else, but it's practically the same thing. Anyway, smash like, smash subscribe, smash notification, download the... Just a moment, let me... Okay, so download the assets and the complete project and will be in the description below. And yeah, check out my courses if you're up for that. And until next time, stay out of jail, I guess, because you will not be able to create games if you're in jail. See you next time, guys.